Today is Good Friday. I really like good things. Good food, a good movie, a good wave, good friends and a good time together as a family. Well, today is the day that we remember the greatest good. Jesus dying on the cross to save us. An English minister named August Toplady, what a name, he captured this so well in a hymn that's now become famous, Rock of Ages. You see, Augustus, he was riding home one day in the English countryside and a massive storm, thunder, lightning, pounding rain suddenly hit, and he was looking for shelter, and he saw this cliff face, and he found in it this narrow shelter spot, this crevice. And so he hid in there, and as the storm raged and he was sheltered, it struck him. This was just like what happened with Jesus on the cross. And so he began to write that famous hymn, Rock of Ages, cleft for me. Well, the first line of the hymn goes, Rock of Ages, cleft for me. It's no wonder that as Augustus was seeking shelter in this rocky place, that his thoughts turned to how Jesus is his rock of all ages. See, the rock was never going to be shaken by the storm. It was always going to stand through the ages, just like Jesus. You see, a life without Jesus is like living on sand, always shifting. But Augustus knew that Jesus' death on the cross was a cleft for me. He means a shelter for him. Jesus has shielded us from God's anger that was poured out on Jesus as he hung on that cross. And Jesus' final words were, "It is finished." His declaration that punishment that was meant to fall on us has been completely dealt with and done. And when we see this, like him, but when we see that Jesus is our shelter, our cleft, all we have to do is to ask him, as the next line of the hymn says, "Let me hide myself in thee." Jesus, be my shelter. We don't have to earn it, and in fact we can never deserve it. This is the beauty of it. We ask Jesus to hide us in him. On the cross, Jesus was dying in our place. And Augustus knew from John's account of Jesus' life how Jesus' death had come about. That the soldiers, confirming that he had truly died, thrust a spear into his side. And so as the next line of the hymn goes, Let the water and the blood from thy wounded side which flowed. He's capturing here this idea that Jesus' blood has the power to deal with our sin, to wash it away, if you like. And so he says, be of sin the double cure. Cleanse me from its guilt and power. Jesus' blood has the power to do away with our guilt so that we can actually be declared by God not guilty. But it also brings about the power to break the grip of sin, to stop us from being in its grip, in slavery to sin, so that we can have a relationship with God. Instead of being trapped in death and out of relationship with God, we can now know His love and life with Him. You see, we've all sinned, we've all rebelled against God, we've played God, we've all rejected God. But through Jesus, the double cure, we can be forgiven. And we can, as Jesus said, know life to the full through Him. And that is why Good Friday is the greatest good. May Jesus be your rock of ages, a cleft for you. I hope you'll join us at Harbour Church on Easter Sunday for our online service as we celebrate the day Jesus rose from the dead.